All right, case file number VA-2025-15.
Yes. This is a rezoning request by Stoker Development LLC. Stoker Development LLC is requesting to rezone 1.8 acres from single-family residential R-15 to single-family residential R-6. The subject property is located at 310 Eager Road, which is along the north side of the road, about halfway between Jaden Place and Walmart Place, as you can see right here. Which shows the zoning patterns as well, and in between those two streets. It's established residential character area, shown on this map as well. And that's the aerial view of, the location. On this aerial view, you actually see that there's a single family home there. That single family home has actually been demolished. So it's actually a vacant lot now. Yeah, very recently. The applicant is proposing to ultimately redevelop the property as a non-conventional townhouse complex with 16 dwelling units along a shared private drive. If the rezoning is approved, the applicant will then seek planned development approval for the townhouse complex. If you all recall, this came before you just 2 months ago as the VA-2025-15. And this is also the same request, same applicant and property that was submitted by the applicant in 2020 for rezoning to R6. That request was recommended for denial by you all, 9-1 vote. And then again, the more recent one was a recommended denial 4-3.
2 months ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago, the most recent recommendation. So the subject property is a classic example of a proposal for infill development. Under R-15 zoning, the property has enough land area for up to 5 single-family lots. This right here is the boundary survey, so you can kind of see the setbacks here. Just kind of gives you an idea. This is the subject property. Once again, it's a vacant lot. That home was recently demolished, probably about, This is the adjacent property, the neighboring property to that lot on the east. This is also looking eastward Eager. This is across the street from the subject property, and that's the Lowndes place. This is a west viewpoint. This here is Jaden to the east. And this is the community next door. So that's, you can kind of get an idea of what the homes look like over there. I think they are R-15, but under the current zoning, they would be more 10 to R-10. Alright, and this is
That's Jadan looking south.
Jadan looking south. And this is the home that sits at the corner of Eager and Walmart Place. So that gives you an idea of the surrounding single-family homes around the location. This is a conventional R-15 layout. So this gives you an idea of what it would look like under R-15 if it was developed. The square footage for each lot, inclusive of a new public road. This is under the R-10 layout, and also a new public road, and then you can see the square footage is a little bit smaller, except for that one in the very back, that's about 17,000 square feet. This is the R6 layout, inclusive of a new public road again, and then of course those square footage the square footage of those lots are a whole lot smaller, about 6,180 square feet. Except for, of course, the two in the back, once again, at 8,000 and 7,000 square feet. This is an example of the townhome layout that they are proposing. I think these, as I said before, about 13 feet.
13 and a half.
13 and a half feet wide. 2-story townhomes. And this is the current site plan that we have received. Currently out for the townhomes. think there's 17 units. Well, not some rendering.
I'm sorry?
I was saying, this is a rendering of the code, it's the one we will put color in.
So Amy, that would not be a public roadway there, would it?
No, that will be a driveway, I think,
Private driveway.
yeah, private drive. Yeah, that comes to Amaret and,
This proposal that you see on the screen can only be accomplished through a plan development in R6 zoning or with a long list of variances.
What's the difference between this proposal and the one that we saw 2 months ago?
The one in fact, you saw very similar to this 2.5 months ago. What was in your packet 2.5 months ago was a little different layout with wider units, and I think that one was 15 dwellings, if
yes,
memory
that one
serves.
was 15.
A little bit larger, a little bit wider, and then it's right before your hearing on it, we had a revision from the applicant that narrowed the width, and it was essentially this. And then that request came through planning commission, the recommendation was for denial of R6 4-3, and it was withdrawn by the applicant before it reached city council. And then a few weeks later, resubmitted by the applicant for this cycle. So this is essentially a repeat of 2 months ago.
Yeah, nothing much has changed, from what you saw. So staff recommendation is that, we find R10 zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan and the standards for the exercise of zoning power, and recommend approval of R10 zoning instead to the city council. I think we discussed this last time, and that R10 zoning would be about 6 single-family homes would fit
Potentially.
into that lot potentially.
With the plan development.
With the plan development, so that's kind of what you're looking at. 17 townhomes or 6 single-family homes in
I
R2.
hear you say that these buildings are only gonna be 13.5 foot wide.
No, the individual units. One footprint with individual units.
Not the whole building,
Not the whole
each
building,
unit.
each unit would be 13 and a half. Each dwelling unit.
What this plan is showing you is 2 6-unit buildings and 1 4-unit building, each unit 13.5 feet wide, with some spacing between them. By comparison, this is the same diagrams that we put in your packet 5 years ago when it came through the first time. So conventionally, without any plan developments or variances, you can do a 3-lot subdivision as it's zoned now. With a standard public street, you have room for 3 lots. If you increase the zoning to R10, you go to 4 lots. If you increase the zoning to R6, you go to 8 lots, depending on how you design it. This does not include stormwater facilities, so give or take. So conventionally, R6 gives you 8 lots there. What they're looking at is rather than single-family homes, going to single-family attached townhouses and having 16 of them. This is a little different. This is to give you a comparison of the different densities.
Matt, with this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. With the townhouse type option, how many doors on R10 are available?
How many doors of R10?
If it's R10, how many doors are available?
All right, conventionally, they can ask 4. They could ask for a 20% bonus density. And in all the discussions, even from 5 years ago, it seemed like maybe 6 would work. To give you or more, depending on
I'm
the
saying
design.
on R10, if you were able to do the townhouse option.
Townhouses are not allowed in R10.
Right.
To do townhouses, it must be R6.
Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It says new public road, the city is gonna pay for that construction of that road?
No.
No, private.
Well, that would probably change
What
that.
about the other
Which is why the conventional development option has not been done yet, because you would have an expensive standard street, standard cul-de-sac, and a row of lots on one side only.
And we
It's
have to
cost
remember, they're not
prohibitive.
asking for that now.
No.
No, this is what could be done if they had
Left it
6 pots of gold to work with that they didn't have to worry about. They could build it. They could build that right now.
And I think too, the last time there was not nearly as much buffer space, presented. Am I correct in that?
Correct, and the
Yeah.
applicant's representative will explain that. One of the reasons they went to the smaller footprint of the
Yeah.
townhouse was an
Create
effort
more
to
buffer
create
than
more
others.
yard around
Yeah,
the buildings.
okay.
But one thing that's a little bit deceiving here in the imagery, that is the view of a 4-unit townhouse building. That is, I think, similar to what they've done. But notice this drawing, which is an artist's rendering, it's not a photograph, does not show driveways in front of each unit. The proposed plan would have a driveway in front of each unit.
All right. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this case?
Hey guys, me again. And again, you guys have seen me present before. I actually just noticed that Matt's drawing on the screen is not our latest drawing. Is it okay if I pass out to the commission?
Yes.
And that's-
Just go ahead and
I'm
skip
gonna pass
it.
it up there. You guys, what do you guys
We
think?
can share. We can share.
Again, Matt Newman, 2704, Oak Street Station. Since the last time we came here, the main changes to what you have in front of you, because I know Franklin's gonna ask about extra parking. We added, doubled up on some parking. There's now two parking spaces for every unit. We also widened some radiuses out so a fire truck can make a turn in there. That may need some more tweaking, but we did add some parking. If you have noticed, the row of parking below the buildings, there's some closer to Eager, there's some at the very top of that leg that goes to the top. We added four spaces there, so we did add some parking. We want to make sure that every unit had at least 2 parking spots. Now, they're not all gonna be right in front of them. Some are gonna walk a little farther south and north or across the drive. But there are 2 parking spots for every unit now provided. We are still the same distances as Ms. Vicky mentioned. The biggest reason we went that 13, that smaller footprint, we see this as being college kids, we see this as visiting nurses. Somebody's got somebody laying that place, somebody can come across the street to live there. These are smaller, short-term homes, for lack of a better term. There's, doesn't mean somebody can't like a small unit, not want to keep a big house and come live here, but this is really intended for somebody that's a traveling nurse, college kid, for 2-bedroom units, and if my parent was in a laid up place and I didn't want to drive 3 hours back, I'm gonna get a house here instead of trying to rent a home or something. The main reason, as Matt mentioned earlier, the traditional land for this lot, y'all heard me talk about how much subdivision costs to do now. If you had to do a single road subdivision there and do these larger lot sizes, these lots would be, $125,000 for, R10 lot, and, some other places would 50 or 60, so it's just not gonna be a sellable option. We can't find an option to make it work, where the traditional roadway, and there was a single-sided road, you pay for all the road, all the infrastructure, you're gonna get half the lots. It obviously makes them about twice as much, and it's gonna be expensive, and, honestly, not economically viable. So it's not something we could do to make it doesn't work. The length from the rear unit on the top of the screen to the property line is about 125 feet. The other one, the one came before you a couple years ago, was 25 feet. They went right to the setback line. We pulled the sides in on Walmart Stoker. We put the drive on that side, so they're more or less we try to get the buildings as centered as much as we could in the middle of the property. We know everybody around us would rather us not come at all, but if we do have to develop it, we want as much buffer to the left and the right as we got. So those units are sitting more in the middle of the property, not sitting against somebody's back door stuff. So we did that on purpose to try to put them in the middle. At the last planning commission meeting, somebody mentioned that, why can't we just do what Farrell Scruggs did down the road? And, we don't have Farrell Scruggs money, that's a different topic for a different day. But the neighborhood around that's a lot different. Those houses average about 375 to 450. The neighborhood on the left averages on Q Public is about 146. The one on the right's like 158. Houses behind us like 180s. So, these are going to be $225,000 homes. Frankly, you probably correct my math on that when they're all built out. They're going to be $200,000 homes. They're going to be nicer and newer than the ones that are there. The plans haven't changed tremendously since the last time I was before you guys, but the property has. The property was there. The developer went ahead and cleared the lot. There was an older home there that was in bad shape, that had been a rental for many years. No money was put back into it for years and years. The guy that lived there was a contractor. Most of us just say we bring our work home with us. It means I carry a notebook and some papers. He brought construction debris and piled it all over that property. There were rat holes and snake holes all over that property. All those are gone. We met Kevin Jenkins, city arborist, and walked the property with him. Basically put hands on every tree that was there and said, Kevin, you okay with taking this one down or not taking this one down? Kevin said most of them there had some kind of disease or been damaged from last hurricane. So the trees that were bad we took out. The big magnolia in the back, those trees on the property, we saved all those. They were all flagged with, have a roll each of a flagging tape to make sure everybody saw them, not taken down. But the property has been cleaned up. If you went and saw it 3 months ago to today, it's a massive difference. The owner did that trying to show he wants to be good neighbor to the surrounding community. We know the surrounding community would rather nothing come there, they'd rather stay vacant. But if we are gonna build there, we want to do something that's nice. And that was kind of the first step of, just kind of a step of goodwill towards the property owners that live around us. It already looks nicer. We're gonna build a pretty product in this, and we think it's a great use of that property. Not much else can be built there, just in the dimensions of the property. It's not wide enough to put a road with, traditional cul-de-sac on either side. So we feel this is a good use of the property.
Matt, did you say the square footage of each unit? Do you know?
They're like just under 1,000 feet, right? That's like 980, it's 2-story, and they're just under 980. 13.5 by.
That's no problem.
13.5 by 44, and they're 2 stories. So whatever the math on that is, they're right at 1,000 square feet each. The 900 is the minimum for the city, and they're just, I think 1,060 if my math's right, Franklin. I don't recall the top of my head. They're just a little, right at 1,000 feet, 1,000 square feet.
Mr. Chairman, I was on the site today, there's just a couple of questions, you may have covered this already. The 2 large trees toward the back of the lot, they're going to be left.
Absolutely. Everything that's on site today is intended to be left. Yes.
And there'll be no construction behind those trees, that'll still be open. What will that become?
We're intending to make a walking trail or park area just for the residents to kind of hang out in. But those magnolia trees are beautiful. We want to save them and give people a kind of place to get outside.
Last question, on the Jaden Place side of the property,
Yes, sir.
you've already cleared as much as you've gone up to their buffer, right? You have stopped.
Yeah, we're actually planning on planting stuff, but yes, sir, we're not going any farther that direction.
Right, but there's already some natural buffer on that side from, that has been there that
Yeah, we're planting to leave stuff on the fence line and
also quite a few, privacy fences, some in good shape, some that are not in good shape, that are owned by the house owners, right? Okay.
most of the area, there's one in the back that doesn't have a privacy fence, and there's one on the right that doesn't have a privacy fence. Some of those have some chain link, but most of the ones in the area have.
Yeah, they do, some of them are in better repair than others.
Is it intent to make it all privacy fence?
I don't think it'd be all privacy fence, but there's a couple of areas where to the rear, we do plan to put a privacy fence on that portion.
And to the rear is where we have almost 130 foot of buffer also, right?
Did you say privacy fence on the Jaden Place side all the way down, or
No,
no?
sir, just on the rear, for one, really plan on
Okay,
putting.
thank you very much, we appreciate that.
This is the best plan I've seen, so.
Thank you.
I like the fact that it is a townhouse application where a person walks in the front door is also sleeping in the second floor. And it's not a parking situation.
13.6 feels narrow, but the upper floor is basically a hallway, and the bedrooms are roughly 10 by whatever off the side of it. So it feels narrow. That 13.6 sounds really narrow to me, but it's really about a 4-foot hallway and 9'6" by 14 or so are the units upstairs, the bathroom in the middle. So it makes for a nice living area upstairs. Actually, even they are very narrow.
I know I've built some before, and I know if you go to St. George Island, there's a gazillion of them 14 feet wide, they're about $1 million each.
Yeah.
And they can't make them fast enough. They love them over there. Just so.
Further to that?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. All right. Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this case? Come on, you go first. Please state your name and address.
My name is Chastity Lake, and I live at lot 303 Benjo Drive. And this is my third time coming before y'all. I'm looking at the standards that I was given when I walked in the room. And when I look at them, all 8 of them, I see where rezoning this property would go against 7 of the 8. Possibly 8, I don't really understand the last one, so. But, I'm looking for y'all to do your job and protect me as a citizen. I feel like this property is not in conformity with all the properties around there. They said it's gonna be short-term tenants, you know, I've been there for 20 years. These people have been there for 20 years, I have to be there for another 20 years. And, I'm sorry that he bought the property and can't get the money he thought out of it. But, you know, that's the dice you roll when you buy real estate. And if the properties behind it are only worth 180, then I probably need to reassess my taxes as well. I think that my neighbor's house sold for $329. Recently, I think it was like 1,700 square feet. So I do think that there's a market for him to develop a nice house. I don't know, she's not used to, but I think going along with the neighborhood, I beg of you not to rezone it for the